is there like a lot of inter-team rivalry between like the three of you guys? Like if you don't if you get out qualified by Joseph and Scott, do you get super pissed off about it still?
You want to be the highest finishing on your team. That is like if you don't have that in you, I've seen guys like you're not going to make it, man. If you're not pissed that you're getting beat by your teammate, you got a problem.
Slick Willie P, what's going on, bro?
Not much, man.
There's a lot going on. What's new?
Yeah, obviously a lot played out, the week after the last race. I'm obviously signed for Andretti. So
yeah,
it was kind of pretty hectic there for a little bit, but it was. I had a great career at Penske. I was very lucky to drive for Roger for 17 years, and I think it was the right time to make a move. We kind of both sides agreed, and looking forward to the future.
Yeah, I think. Well, let me start off. We'll talk a little bit about that, but I always start off with the stats on this, and your stats are, right up there, Hall of Fame stats. You two-time champion for IndyCars, Indy 500 winner, 45 wins, 71 podiums, 108 podiums, and 71 poles, which is a record in IndyCar, which I think is going to be very difficult for anybody to get to in any time soon. So, I'm just going to say, and I don't, I know this is a sensitive situation and time for you because you're still under contract, but when you said at Portland, like, if you don't think I can drive a car anymore, you're like, basically you're nuts, right? If you don't think I'm fast enough, you're crazy. And, I'm just going to say this. I feel that, this is a pretty poor decision by Team Penske to, not sign you because you are still like, you're a bad man. You're fast like crazy. And I love when you have, when you've got, I've said this to you before, when you're angry willpower or you have an axe to grind, you are a serious guy to contend with. Hey, it's Paul Tracy. Quick heads up for all you hardcore racing fans. Racers got a killer deal right now. Stream the best in motorsports with Racer Plus and get a full year of Racer Magazine. 6 badass collectible issues, all bundled and discounted. We're talking live WRC, Dakar, Crandon Off-Road, DTM, British Touring Cars, Le Mans, World Superbike, and even the Isle of Man TT, all in one place. Hit up racer.com/bundle and fuel up on all the best racing from around the world. That's racer.com/bundle.
You have all these little motivators that get you rolling. But I mean, at this point in my career, I'm particular in the way I approach stuff now. So it doesn't really come from that area as much.
Really?
No, not really. It doesn't, I've done it for so long. So you get to see patterns and you get to see what makes you good. Everyone's different because some people need a push. Obviously I'm someone that can be brought down a little bit and perform very well. But there has been times where that helps, but ultimately, get in there. I'm very methodical about the way I do it. Never get angry on the radio. Let's say rarely, might be once or twice in a season, would I say something on the radio that makes, that has made me angry. I've realized that just doesn't help. I've been able to hone those mental skills for so long now. You just, it's you just can't make up for that amount of time, but I haven't lost the speed.
Yeah.
I'm still still quick, still very quick. Obviously, get to measure off some of the best guys. You know, two really good teammates. Series is incredibly competitive, and we share. You know, the whole field shares telemetry, so it's speed, throttle, you know, brake, steer, all the just the basic, you know, driving traces for data. So you know where you lack and where you're good and where you're not. So
Yeah.
it's easier to work on something that you're not strong at now. So, you know, I've never stopped that stuff. I just love driving. Let's say I'm an addict of driving. I just love it, man. And that fire in the belly has never stopped either. You know, I feel like I'm in my 20s. I'm still that enthusiastic about racing.
This podcast is brought to you by Racer and Racer.com, the leading motorsports news and information source in North America. With special thanks to trusted silver and gold trading partner and studio sponsor ITM Trading and Scottsdale-based Apex Motor Club. I'm a member there. It's a membership-only private track racing community right here in Phoenix. If you want to go racing, that's the place to be. Your fire is hot though, because I mean, one of the things that has always attracted me to liking watching you race, you know, is because you do get fired up, and you do sometimes get out of the car and throw your helmet down if you haven't had a good race or you've had a bad qualifying or whatever. Like you do, and you remind me a lot of me. Like I'm the type of person that I get fired up. And I'll like say what I feel, and then I'm over it, and I'm moving on, right?
Yeah, I'm very much like that. And it's usually out of the car is where I really express my emotion.
Yeah,
because I know in the car you gotta, you know, in your young days it really does affect your performance. You think about when you get mad and your objective is to get back to that guy. It's all bad. It doesn't help your overall result. But out of the car, you know, I definitely get out of the car, and then, you know, once I've finished a run or something in practice, kind of like I did with Palou this year, you know, you let someone know how you feel, but then 5 minutes later, I am over it and apologetic. Yeah. Always. I mean, and that personality trait, that fire is what makes me fast. But, you know, I think that's the good and bad of it, right? And it was the same for you. Like, you have that fire within you that, like, at a switch, you can get very angry. Yeah. But that is the same fire that allows you to perform at a high level when it's really nicely controlled.
Well, do you ever, like, while you're driving, like for me personally, like in my career, like if I would make a mistake or I couldn't put a lap together, would you ever get like fired up in your head and be like, like, damn it. Or just push the radio button and be like, drop a huge F-bomb on the radio. Not that you're mad at the crew or anything. You're just, you just need frustrated. You need this release, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. That rarely happens now, but you do get, like, I know what you mean. In my career, that has happened many times, like not putting a lap and make a mistake, this, that, not making it happen. Yes, you've seen me get out after qualifying, like, you know, last few years and just be so pissed at myself, like I couldn't put it together.
Well, I would imagine that comes from, like, in that situation where you know you have a good car and you couldn't put the lap together and it really hurt your qualifying and you're just pissed, right? You're pissed at yourself, right? Because you know your car was good and you didn't put it together. Right?
Yeah. It's what could have been basically the potential of this car should have been top 6 and I'm 8th or whatever, or I didn't make it to the final round. You know, it's always much worse when your teammate does.
Yeah.
It's much worse. That's a big driver. If you're the quickest on the team, you don't feel as bad because, like, well, you know, obviously I did the best job with what we had. But when your teammates are ahead of you, that's when it's, you know, and especially if they're quite a bit ahead of you, that really is something to
Is there
makes you
is there
fired up.
is there like a lot of inter-team rivalry between like the three of you guys? Like if you don't if you get out qualified by Joseph and your other teammate,
Scott,
do you get like do you
yeah.
get Scott? Do you get super pissed off about it still?
Definitely not as much as I used to, man. Like that became way less in the last couple of years. Way less. It just it again, it didn't help. It kind of sucked that you had to learn how to cope with getting beaten by a teammate, because in the early days, it's just absolutely
Yeah.
distraught, like to be beaten by a teammate, you know, like, but that's the level of, that's the amount of pressure and work and everything you put into it. You know, I've got to be, that's the first thing you have to do is be quicker than your teammate. Like, you know, it's more of a, you know, I take the approach more of a, you know, I get to learn off him now.
Yeah.
Let's see, you know. But it is still the thing, you want to be the highest finishing on your team. That is like, if you don't have that in you, I've seen guys like, you're not going to make it, man. If you're not pissed that you're getting beat by your teammate, you shouldn't be racing. Like, you're not gonna make it, man. Like, you just,
Yeah.
like in your early days, I'm saying, like, if you're not distraught when you get beaten by a teammate, you got a problem.
So, I mean, we're talking about the frustration of when you have a good car, you and you don't do a good lap, you're super pissed. But I mean, you're a guy like there's a, you know, let's be honest, there's a lot of guys that can do one fast lap if the car is right. You know, there's lots of guys that can do a fast lap if the car is right. But I would imagine throughout your career with 71 poles, there's been dozens of times like that I've seen you barely scrape through into the top, into the fast 12, just barely get in the fast 6, and then you pull a lap out of nowhere. Like, how do you do that? You know, there's been like lots of times where you've had a mediocre average car, and then you just yank this time out of thin air somehow. Like, well, how do you do that? Like, because you're not really going to transform a car in a 1 hour qualifying session from average to, you know, the best car you've ever driven.
Yeah, I think what happens is it's never perfect in the first round for sure. You know, it's always unpredictable for the condition, the tire, when the tire's on, you know, traffic and all that. So you are driving around a problem. You are trying to extract, like, it's a bit messy the first round and maybe the second round. But third round, you know where the car's good and bad and what it does in what area of the corner on tires. So you can smooth that all out. You know what I mean? Like, you're not catching it or anything. You know it does this here, so I'll put less lock in. I'll use less brake here. I'll use that. Like, you know where the car is fast. Because ultimately, you know, you have 6 guys in the top 6. The 6 cars all behave differently. They all have different strengths and weaknesses. You know, this car's a bit more stable, so he's getting bigger exits. So this car is more front, so you're able to carry more mid corner. You know, it just depends. This car's big on brakes. He V's the corner a bit more. Like, there's all different ways. So I think by the time, if you can get through those, I've always found that if I can get through the first 2 rounds, you know, when I get to fast 6, there's nothing to lose. I know where the car is good. I know how it behaves in every corner, and I can adjust accordingly. And that's sort of where you're able to then just put it all together.
Yeah, but I mean, what I'm saying is, I mean, like, I know that you have qualified a car on the pole with a 8th place car. You know,
true.
You know, and what I'm saying is, like, how do you do that? Like, do you do it out of just sheer, like, to use your name, is it sheer willpower? Like, I'm gonna freaking do this, or is it come from anger, or does it come from self-confidence and belief that I can go get 3/10 in this sector if I just really just send it?
It's actually getting an advantage in a sector where the car has its strength, and then equaling everyone else's sector in the car in the area that it is a bit weak. You know, it's usually that, but it is a bit of a mindset of, I'm in the top 6, I've got nothing to lose. There's definitely that. it's definitely like, I am going to extract the most out of this machine. Like there's nothing.
Well, there is if you crash though.
You're still sick.
I know, but I mean, you might not. Say you write your car off and have to go to the spare, then you're screwed, right?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, I reckon when you're on that, in that space, for me anyway, rarely do you put it in the wall. Rarely. When you get in that, that space that is the thing that you can't explain.
It's the thing. It's the thing that every driver tries to find. Like we all looked back in the day, like when I was a kid, and when I'm sure when you were a kid, and you talked about, you watched and heard Senna talk about, like, I got into this zone, right? And everybody's always trying to find this zone of whatever it is. How do you get there? And people are superstitious. Like I used to put my right glove on first, and I would only get in this side of the car, and I would do this, or I would eat that. Are you one of those guys that to find this zone, you have a process, and sometimes it happens and sometimes it doesn't?
It's not the process. Like, obviously I've had so much time to work on that stuff, but it is a place that is very difficult to get to. There's a couple of times I've been in this absolutely insane place where it's just so it's so in the moment, and that obviously is very difficult on a road course. And the two times that place has happened to me is one at Indy and one at Chicagoland in, I think, 2010, in a pack race where you just so into in this area of flow state that everything's you're just subconsciously doing it. It's not you. Like it's hard to get there. It really is.
Well, you seem to find it. You seem to find that flow state, like we're talking about, more than most. Like in qualifying is like very much a flow state, right? To get the ultimate lap time, to be better than 28 guys, you have to hit everything freaking perfect, and you find that. You found it more than most in history, right?
Man, I think it's in your personality. I really do. I would take, an example of someone like Scott Dixon, who is exceptional in races and really over a championship. But, and he's very fast, but he's not.
Well, he's not a supreme qualifier. Like he's a race day guy.
Yeah, and it's in his nature. You can just tell he's a very calm person and methodical and makes very good decisions all the time. Versus, more, you can see in my nature is quite different to Scott. Very fiery at times.
Yeah, you and I are very similar. I think our driving styles. Like I'm not as good a I don't think I was as good a qualifier as you. And I think maybe because of a long time in my career, I paid a pretty heavy weight penalty because I was bigger than most guys. But
I would agree with that.
Still qualified. Like I didn't have equal weight until 2003 was the first time that I was within 10 or 15 pounds of everybody else in the field. Guys like D'Amata that were 130 pounds. I paid a 60, 70 pound penalty.
That's 7/10. That's at least a half second. Yeah. At least. Like there's just no way. It would have been interesting to see, like you probably would have been very similar to me, man. Like if you're giving away that much weight, that is bloody huge.
Well, I don't think I am during my day, like during my era, like you came into the sport kind of at the end of my career. Like you came in 05, 06, 07 by, it was towards the end of my career, and the weights were equal then. But like before that, the beginning of my career, the cars were so powerful and so difficult to drive. Like you could give up a little bit of weight, but then as this horsepower kind of came down, and I mean, I don't know, like the middle of my career, the cars were like 900 horsepower, and guys were coming in like D'Amata that were super lightweight and fast. So it was hard. It was hard to beat them in qualifying. Like Dario, when I was teammates with Dario, I was 200 pounds and Dario was 155. you know.
Right, yeah.
And
Oh, that's a
I
big
could
hit,
qualify
man.
with, you know, he would
Yeah.
typically out qualify me, you know, but
Yeah.
you know, I could out qualify him here and there, but typically he was a
Mm.
couple 3/10 quicker than me.
Yeah.
But in the race, I knew I could my racecraft thought was my strength, not
Yeah.
my qualifying. But
Yeah.
once we got equal weights in '03, I started racking up poles like crazy then, because now
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
on pretty equal terms, right?
Yeah. Oh man, you're giving away huge chunk. I said to Graham Rahal a couple of years ago, man, he's like, oh, I'm giving up 20 pounds. I said, man, in this day and age, you know, and also what I'll say is your cars were much lighter, so the percentage you were giving up was bigger.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about when your cars are 1,400 pounds. So you're giving up a larger percentage of lap time, or a larger percentage of lap time because of the weight difference. Yeah. I mean, that's big. Like you would have got a lot of poles. We would have at least, I mean, you know, I don't know.
I mean,
the
I had
engine
25 in my career, which is not too shabby, really. I mean, it's in the top 10 of guys. So
yeah. No, that's a big hit. I always thought that. I knew that when I came in, I said didn't used to be a weight rule. And, you know, you obviously had one guy was 130 and then you had someone like you as 200. I mean, oh my God, man, that's a big hit.
yeah.
That's a big hit in lap time right there. Like 10 pounds, fair enough. Like that's not even a tenth, but you're talking.
10 pounds is basically a gallon and a bit of fuel, which is not that big
Yeah,
a
10
difference.
pounds, depending on the track. Like it's usually about 12, depends on the track, but 12 pounds usually a tenth. Yeah, so for big deal for you for sure. You know, now you wouldn't even survive in the way the series is now. It's so spec and everyone's got exactly the same stuff. Like you wouldn't be able to give up that sort of weight now. It hurts you too much. But yeah, but yeah, getting back to the personality thing, man, I think it's in your nature. I mean, I look at Pelot, he walks that tightrope of, you know, being quite aggressive in the race, but very measured. Like it's never an incident. He's the full package. He's the best guy I've seen it come along in years, man. In my career, I reckon, as a full package. Full package.
I mean, I got to say, like when I was driving and when you came along in '05, in '06, you know, I'd heard about you. You came out of what was it? World Series out of Europe. You went through Australia, Formula Ford champion, and won some championships, and then you went to Europe, F3, and then World Series was basically what F2 is now. I mean, you were really on the track to go into Formula One. Why did you bail on that and go IndyCar?
Because so I tested Minardi in '04, and then that led into, then I did World Series by Renault. And that was going well. I think I was running second in the championship. I was catching Kubica. And then we had a wet weekend and we just, like, the year before the wet tire required a huge tire pressure. And they applied that and we were just way off the pace, both me and my teammate. And then they just said, screw it, just take 10 pounds out of the tire. It was more like 10 or 15 pounds.
That's a lot of tire
And
pressure.
suddenly, you know, my teammate was like way quicker, but it was too late. We'd already qualified. But at the same time, I'd had an offer to come over and race Champ Car, basically IndyCar, and get paid. So it was either stay over there, find another $1 million and race GP2, or get paid. And I was already in debt, or get paid and go over and you know, I tested the Champ Car and I'm like, man, it was awesome. You know, I was just like, I could get paid to do this. It was just, you know, a beast of a car. I loved it.
Did you follow much of IndyCar in that time, or were you strictly like focused on, I'm going to Formula One, and like, were you into IndyCar because you grew up in surfers and the race was there? I'm sure you obviously watched it a lot. You raced Formula Fords at the track, I would assume.
Yeah, I did. I did watch both, but was very focused on Formula One. And you always thought that IndyCar's a good fallback and it'd be easy to get in, which isn't true, actually. It's quite tough to get in, and it's a very tough series. But back then, the two series were split, so you had Champ Car and you had the IRL, but I kept an eye on Champ Car. I didn't watch much IRL. Once you drive the car, and I mean, it's a great place to end up because it's very difficult to get in Formula One. There's a lot of politics and right place, then you've got to be in the right car. But of course, if I had the chance to go to Formula One, it absolutely was the goal originally. And
was there ever any interest? Because I mean, right away when you came to Champ Car, in 05, 06, I mean, you scored a pole right off the bat. I mean, you scored a pole in Surfers in 06, I think.
Yeah,
I think you and I got into it in the pit lane. We crashed into each other in the pit lane during that race. But
well,
I mean, was there any ever offers to like, hey, because you were super fast? Was there any interest ever in going to Formula One?
I can't remember that. I remember I was talking to someone with Derek. I remember Townsend Bell calling me at one point saying, "Man, in 2010, like." He knew a lot of guys over there. He goes, you need to try go to Formula One. I can talk to some guy. I think he talked to Force India for me, and they said, well, you need to get him on the sim first. But I just signed with Penske full time, and
yeah, that would have been a bad.
That would have been a risk.
That would have been a bad mistake.
Yeah, didn't pursue it obviously, but there were still thoughts of potentially going there. But it would have been, it's just tough when you're driving for the best team in the series, man. Like, you think about the struggle it is just to get paid in racing and make it to that point, but then get to the best team in IndyCar and be winning a lot of races at the time. Like, yeah, it would have to have been a good deal to depart.
Yeah, I mean, for you got signed to the right seat. I mean, obviously, I mean, at the end of the day, Rogers' team is the best team to be on. They have the best cars, the best equipment. Yeah. And, granted, it's his decision what he wants to do. But I mean, ultimately, it's 17 years there. That's like, and, the amount of wins you racked up is like, it's been incredible to watch.
Yeah. And I'm forever grateful to get the chance with Roger and then be able to have the career I had. I mean, it was a great partnership, and Roger's been great to me. He really has the whole time. Obviously, there is a point where, you've got to, he's looking to the future. He wants a young guy. And, it just, I think if you knew the whole situation, it's like, yeah, I get why he did that.
I mean, hey, listen, I was a young guy that came into Penske Racing. I'd won the Indy Lights Championship, and they got rid of Danny Sullivan to put me in the car. So, I mean, these things, that's kind of evolution. I hadn't won anything or done anything in an Indy car to get that seat, but basically I replaced a established Indy 500 winner. That was a huge name in the sport, hugely popular, right? Which is, it's just the way racing goes.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking it from a business perspective, so you're paying for someone's name, and I guess the way you'd be looking at it as well. Okay, I think we can put someone in who's about the same performance, about the same.
I don't know about that, because I'm scratching my head at this decision. Like, there's not many people that you can pay them on paper. There's very few guys that you could say measure up to you.
Yeah, that's but Roger's looking at the age. He's kind of looking. Well, yeah, he offered me a year deal, so yeah, he's probably thinking I'm going to retire in a year or two, maybe a year. Like, I think he was going to give me a year. Or you can put this young guy in, start him already in the team. Like, yeah. I didn't not get his decision. I mean, he's looking to the future, and
so
probably saves him a bit of money, saves him some money. I mean, I knew in my gut, man, it was the right time, and I think Roger did too.
So I heard you say to Hinch on his podcast that your motivation now is to prove that a guy in his 40s you're as fast as you've ever been, you're as fit as
Yeah.
you've ever been, you're as motivated as you ever. That's what is motivating you going forward to prove like I said at the beginning of this show, a willpower that's got something to prove is a he's a tough guy to beat, man.
I think you put that in your subconscious in the off season as a driver, but it's true. I believe if you keep at it, you can be very competitive into your 40s. I mean, the big thing you've got going for you is a ton of experience.
Yeah.
You got a ton of experience. You understand how the car should feel, and you honestly know all the changes that you know exactly what every change does and how it makes the car feel. So, for an engineer, it's an easy transition into another team. Because my feedback is very good, and my suggestions on what direction we should go is very good. And if maybe you lose a little bit of the top end speed, but just the experience makes up for all that. Like my strength now is how I put races together. Just very, very good in the race. The speed that I have in the race, the way I can look after tires or push or fuel save I've got such a big toolbox in that respect. So it gives the strategist lots of options. That was me at the last race, man. I just sat in wherever I was, 8th or 9th, and turned the fuel all the way down and just hung out there to give my strategist an option to go for a 3-stopper. And then when the yellow fell, I just turned the fuel up and said, all right, time to go, and then drove all the way to the front. So, I think it's sort of understanding how a race is going and just giving yourself options, basically.
So this is the new motivation, is to show everybody that what is the game plan now? Like, what is your daily routine now? You've got a long off season. What do you do to prepare to go on this mission to win your third championship?
Well, I'm having a couple of weeks off. I'm actually got to go back to Australia because my mother's struggling. But I do. I've worked out for so many years now. I almost don't need a trainer. If I'm doing weights, I get a trainer. But usually try to build up strength and muscle in the off season, and then start adding in some good cardio. And I mean, it's everything. It's the eating, it's the this sort of working out you do. You don't. There's a lot more science now on how to work out, and you don't actually have to do as much. I do less than I used to, and fitter than I used to. So can't really do anything till January 1st because I'm under contract with Penske till January 1st. But after that, I'll be able to get up to Indy and get on the Honda Sim. And
I want to see what the future plan is. Obviously, IndyCar is not going to go on forever. And you're a guy that's, I think I only remember you doing like a sports car race like way back. And I think you did the 24 hours back in like 07, 08, maybe. Because I was in the race.
No, I haven't. No, I did the Bathurst 24-hour in 03.
Okay.
It was the only 24-hour Bathurst I did in GT3 RS, I think it was. And
so you never done the 24 hours of Daytona or Sebring?
No,
or anything like that?
Man, I'm not that interested. I'm not like it's like I look at IndyCar and the field is full of obviously high level drivers.
Yeah.
It's just at this point in my career, it sucked to like get hurt at like the Daytona 24 hours something, and then not be able to race IndyCar.
Man. Like I was gonna get there. You go to the Super Nationals in a freaking go-kart, and some kid
I'm not doing it this year.
Some kid could run over you far sooner than you would ever get hurt running.
Oh yeah, no, I've been flipped out of a car before in the off season, but that's the reason I'm not doing it. It's at the point in my career where you don't want to do an injury where it's like, that finished you. So, I'm kind of just hanging out, waiting on that stuff. I'm not saying I wouldn't do it, but it has to be the right deal, man. I think you want to be with a really good team, and yeah, it'd have to make sense. Yeah, I love sports car racing. Looks like a lot of fun, but man, after I saw Mimo Gidley, it was Mimo Gidley, right?
Yeah, but that was
That crash.
so long ago. You
No,
know?
I know, but I would say that some, you know, that's the sort of thing that happens where someone's engine goes and they just stop on track, not knowing like how dangerous that is, not just pulling to the grass, and that sort of crash, man, just finished like such a bad situation. So you just know like you don't want to do something that will basically finish your career early.
Yeah, I mean, I did it because I wanted to drive. The seasons, the off season got to be so long with no testing, and we used to test so much, and then all of a sudden it stopped, right? And then you'd have 5-6 months of no driving, and Daytona is really it's a good shakedown for you physically, for the neck and things like that. You get in the car, you do 5 or 6, 2 hour, 4 2-hour stints, and that's basically like 5 races in one day, and you leave there feeling pretty good. And typically 2 days after the 24 hours of Daytona, you would be testing at Sebring and you'd be switched on, ready to go, right? But it just hasn't interested you at all, huh?
Yeah, well, it has interested me. Don't get me wrong. I've tried to do deals, and but I just signed a great deal and don't want to jeopardize anything. But if there's a good, like, it's always too late, like I don't think I'll be able to get in a really good car or situation right now.
I mean, I think you'd be surprised if you really tried. I think a lot of people would love to have you.
Yeah, I have tried a few times. I just, it's always had to line up with sponsors and all that on the Penske side. I've had deals almost done, and it's like, no, this conflicts with this. So
yeah,
it's been tough from that perspective. There's been a few things that have just kept me from doing it like that. And now I'm at a point like, it's not a great deal. I think, I don't want to do anything to jeopardize it, because what you get paid in IndyCar versus what you get paid to do sports car. Like,
basically nothing.
You've got to do the, from a business perspective, you're like, from a risk perspective, it's like, but from a driving purist, yes, I just love driving. I mean, that's what I do. But
so do you want to do sports cars like after IndyCar is over? Do you want to keep driving and keep going? Like, you say you want to show everybody that you can be competitive in IndyCar up into your 50s. And, guys like Mario retired at 50. But, like, what happens? Like, do you have a game plan for after that's finished? Because I'll tell you from my own perspective, when I stopped driving and I didn't have that adrenaline release, and I do everything else. I ride motocross, and I ride Harleys, and I ride 180 mile an hour boats, and I do this and I do that, and nothing gets me off like driving a race car. And I'm a miserable prick to be around if I don't have that, right? So
yeah, it's almost just a level of competition, like to be able to compete. I mean, you can drive stuff that doesn't really, I don't enjoy it unless I'm competing, even if it's against myself in a lap time. But that's why I race go-karts, man. It's so competitive, and you're competing. You're actually competing against really good people. And I guess if I stopped at whatever age I stop at in IndyCar, that will be interesting. I wonder how I'll handle that. If I will just have to go and do something. But yeah, obviously sports car would be amazing. Doing Le Mans would be amazing. I never got to, would love to do Daytona 24 hour in the right situation where you have a shot at the outright win. So they're all things that have been on the bucket list forever, but I always so focused on the specific thing that I need to win at. Yeah. And that's been IndyCar.
So the new deal came right after the season was over, and this is kind of cool because you've kind of come full circle now, all the way back to the beginning. You reunite with Rob Edwards. It's almost like a fresh start. It's like starting over again for you, back from the beginning, because now you're coming into this new situation with high motivation, and it's like you want to a new team, guys you don't know. I've been there. I know a lot of the guys on the team, and I know that they're all racers and they want to win. And you're connecting with somebody that you're also very comfortable with. So that just makes the transition that much smoother, I guess.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how many of the guys I actually know in that team. I mean, obviously been around the paddock a long time, but certainly makes the transition a lot easier with Rob. And it'll be something familiar for me, and it will be very interesting having been in a team for 17 years, and you get so used to everything. It's things you don't think of, that just get done for you, or however, every team is run slightly differently. So I'm, heavily motivated and energetic about just getting started, and I'm really looking forward to driving the car. I just want to feel it. It's just this thing I anticipate the most is getting to actually feel the car. Like, what does this feel like? Obviously, they're very good on street courses, and and a bit of work to be done on road courses, ovals, and so on. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Well, I think the team is like, they've done a really good job, and like you said, they've got an excellent street course car. They were the only guys that could really, run with Ganassi and Palou on the street courses. I think they have a really good IndyCar, like at Indianapolis, because their cars are quick there. Road courses, they're good. I'm good, but I think you can make up the difference on that with your knowledge. But for me, you going there, I think, is a huge shot in the arm for them, because they had guys that were basically, they started with guys in the beginning of their career. Like Colton came out of Indy Lights, and he's been there a few years. The same with his teammate. I don't think I don't think they're on your level. Certainly not on your level with wins. So you're going to bring a lot of knowledge to the team, which is going to elevate them to a whole nother level, I think, next year.
Yeah, it's I'm also interested to work with new teammates. I think Kyle's man. Some of the laps that Kyle puts together is incredible.
Yeah,
I think he's one of the fastest guys I've seen, and Marcus is obviously a lot of experience and very good on ovals. And he had a rough year last year, but I chatted to him a bit during the year about it, and there's probably some things that to make the car suit him a little bit more that will help him. But he's both of them. It doesn't matter who I've been teammates with. I've always learned stuff from my teammates. It's just they'll teach you. Doesn't matter who the guy is. I've learned that's sort of putting a toolbox together, is taking the best qualities of each teammate and trying to bring your whole level up. But two very good teammates. I think it's a team that's already winning. Obviously Honda's been very strong. I think what everyone's doing is trying to close the gap to Palou, man. That is the most dominant I've seen someone. It's incredible. I think that's the focus of just about every team, is you add Palou just on another level, and then the rest of the championship. Like, if you took Palou out of it, it was a very closely fought championship. If you just took Palou, but so I think that's where you've got to close the gap. And it's not with Alex, it's not just speed, it's just absolute execution.
So
consistency and execution.
What do you think are going to be the big differences between a Penske, Chevy, and an Andretti Honda? Like, do you do a lot of sim time with Chevy, or have you ever been in the Honda sim? Because you drove Honda earlier in your career, but I don't think back in those days the sims were nearly as advanced as they are now. So are you a sim guy where you spend a lot of time doing that, or are you like, no, I just race?
It depends on the time model. Sometimes a sim hurts you, man. It really does. Sometimes you'll go and do a sim day, which we do before each race, and it will actually hinder you a bit, because when you're getting down to the finest of fine details in driving, a simulator cannot simulate that.
Yeah.
If you're trying to learn a track with braking, shifting, basic stuff, maybe some setup philosophies. Yeah, the sim is great, but it's so difficult to get a tire. Like, it's just so complicated to get to a level where it really is as intricate as the real car. So, but yeah, I mean, because there's no testing, sims are great. I haven't driven the Honda sim, so I don't know, but it's going to be a lot of work going to a new team.
Yeah.
And yeah, but you plug into a great team, really are. I mean, a lot of smart guys there too, engineering wise. You would have known Craig Hampson. I mean,
Oh
he's
yeah,
there.
yeah. Well, he was
You know,
at Newman
legend from the
Haas.
past. Yeah, Newman Haas guy. Yeah, so they got a great group.
So what? You've got a long off season now. I mean, obviously you have to sit tight. You're under contract. So what's the game plan now? Are you karting while the weather's still good out at the track in Charlotte? Like, I know that you have you manufacture your own go-karts, Power Kart. Are you doing? What are you going to do? A lot of karts?
I'm not actually manufacturing them anymore, just so I could drive other brands. Actually, like,
I remember when you first started that, and I told you it's impossible to make money at that.
No, you're right.
Do you remember me telling you?
You did. Said you're gonna lose money, but yeah, it's kind of fun. And yeah, I lost money.
Yeah,
and it was fun. I mean, I enjoy karting, man. It's just one of my favorite forms of motorsport. So I still run the shifter. I've been getting into the KZ. I love it.
Yeah.
I really badly wanted to race the Supernats this year, but
you need to stay away from that, because you don't need some kid driving over your back. You know.
I would do it in Masters, but they look just as aggressive. But
yeah,
I was running around with Davide Fora. You probably remember him from back in the day. Running around with him the other day, which was awesome. Yeah, because he's such a legend of the sport. But yeah, man, I kind of miss. It's so hard for me not to race a go-kart in the off season.
Yeah,
I was going to do a race. There's a race in Newcastle. And I think Newgarden's doing it, and probably
that's an endurance race, right? Isn't it an endurance race?
Yeah, it's like 25 grand to win, so there's going to be big entries there. And I was going to do it with Danny Formal, but I have to go back to Australia to see my model. So I was going to do a race, an endurance race, which is definitely less aggressive, you know, just do the middle stint, don't do the start. But yeah, go-karting. Always a bit of fun, a lot of exercise, maybe not too much mountain biking.
Yeah.
don't want to do any damage there, but yeah, you know, all the things you got to do to prepare. You got to be ultra fit and mentally ready.
I'm super excited to see how you perform next year. I check in on you every once in a while to make sure you're okay, and when you do good, I tell you that was great. And I'm always been a Will Power fan, and you're a Hall of Fame guy. So don't ever forget that you're one of the best that's ever been, and let's go for that third championship next year.
No, absolutely, man. You know, I feel privileged that I actually got to race against you. And also, I was the only driver to ever take you out, and you didn't get me back. You retired before that. So
that was in,
that's a proud moment.
Where was that? I was at Mont-Tremblant. Yeah.
You held me up, and I just turned you around. I don't think I got a penalty either.
I know. I was super pissed off because I was running good, and it was right at the end of the race, and you took me out.
Yeah, I was like, wow, I got him. I thought, well, he's going to get me back, but he never did. So I was lucky to, you know, get one on Paul Tracy without getting paid back. That's a real claim to fame, man.
I know. All right, brother. Thanks for coming on, and I can't wait for 26 to watch you.
No, same, man. Appreciate you having me on, and always consider you a great friend and great competitor. So, very cool.
All right, thanks, brother.
You got it.